Welcome to the Tom Style Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the support. Folks, today we're going to talk about Goldman Sachs, the consumer lending division, Marcus. Marcus Goldman, the founder of Goldman Sachs. So the Marcus was a product. It was kind of, I would say it was the brainchild of Lloyd Blankfein, the previous CEO of Goldman. I have huge respect for Lloyd. He's an incredible CEO. I think he has done terrific things for Goldman. So no complaint there. Recently, I think today, people are talking about Goldman losing around $3 billion since 2020 on Marcus, this consumer lending division. Now, here's my thought on this topic. The thing is, Goldman has an absolute monopoly, or if not a monopoly, they have an absolute dominance in the investment banking game. So when you think of Goldman Sachs, you think of Wall Street, as simple as that. Now, they want to go into Main Street. They want to bank for the unbanked. They want to take care of everybody. They want to go everywhere. So that was kind of the idea for Lloyd Blankfein, how to expand the operations, how to get to the masses, right? Now, it was kind of controversial because, of course, it was like, hey, we got this amazing gold-plated thing going on. Why in the world would we want to go into the other thing where there's just so many players, right? There are banks, there are lending companies, there are lenders, there's scams, there's so many things going on. Why would you create something in that direction? Now, once again, I cannot say it was a bad decision, but I cannot also say it was a good decision. So let me explain what I'm saying here, because there's no way you can say, okay, it was a terrible decision. They should not be banking to the masses. They should stick to what they know. What does that mean? There's no expansion, right? So this is kind of similar, not the same, but kind of similar to what Bob Iger was trying to do, and then Bob Chapek came in and he was like, oh, okay, we were going to do something totally different. And, again, Bob Iger had to come back. Chapek got fired. Now, in this case, Lloyd Blankfein, it was his idea. But I think he left too early when it came to the implementation of Marcus. Because it was his idea. He put it up. They got the contract with Apple. They got a couple of good contracts. So pretty good. It's running in a good direction. Things are happening. But if he stick around, if he was out there for at least another 5 years or 7 years, which is impossible, he would retire. But, if it was possible that if you stick around for another 5 to 7 years to take Marcus from here to there, that would have been a distinct possibility and that would have worked out very well. Now, he left too early. Now, David Solomon is looking at it. He's like, okay, that whole Marcus thing is making us less than $1 billion or, billion something, whereas our revenue is in $60 billion. We need to expand our revenue exponentially or, expand much faster. We cannot just rely on a tiny portion. So let's fire a bunch of people and, let's cut it down. Let's make it smaller. So the alignment is not there, right? So that's where the problem is. If David Solomon says, hey, we want to focus on it, we want to keep this going, regardless of how much we lose. This $3 billion, this billion, that billion loss is not a big deal. We keep losing for next 10 years, and then we're going to make a decision. I think that could put Marcus in a much better position. Now let's go back. Let's forget about all these things that Goldman is doing with Marcus. Let's think about why should you be using Marcus, right? So that's the thing. Marcus is an incredibly good product. It's a lending. Oh, by the way, it's about the lending solution. So if you want to take a personal loan, short-term loan, you can. There's so many. You can go to Lending Club. You can go to the banks. You can go to Chase. You can go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever. Or there are a bunch of those are online, like the Lending Club. You got the Avant, and you got a couple of Prosper, a couple of those ones. There's just so many. And then there's Marcus. Of course, Marcus does offer pretty good rate. They're pretty nice. It's a good one. It's actually a very good product, but it's in a crowded field, competing with a bunch of absolute nothing people. It just doesn't make sense. It's just not positioned right. It's a good product, but it's not in the right place. Now, if you give it enough time and keep on acquiring everybody else, maybe you can kill the competition completely and you can dominate that field. That's a possibility. Sure, that's a distinct possibility, but you've got to give it enough time and enough money. So you got to be willing to keep losing a lot of money for a long period of time for that to be successful. The other thing with Marcus is it's very similar to the competitors' products. It's better, it's a little better, but there is nothing differentiated about it. It's not like, oh, no interest for this long, or it's significantly better in some way. it's okay to better interest, maybe late payment. They're a little more flexible with that. You can pay it early. There's some reward, things like that. It's a little better, but it's not a significant improvement to what is already out there. So that puts it in a position where it's competing with a bunch of other people. That's the first problem with Marcus. But if you give it enough time, people will get to know it, and hopefully they'll use it a lot more. Now the other thing is that's a very slow progress, right? Slowly it's going to get better. People are going to get to know. People are going to start using, et cetera, et cetera. And so they also thought of, okay, how about we do some acquisitions? They bought Green Sky, which is a company that was in tremendous financial trouble. It was that hotshot startup, went public, and then got in trouble because we just built a platform. We're the technology company. We have the banking partners that actually keep the loan on their books. We just do the technology, the platform, and then later on, all the loans we give out, the underwriting that we mess up or whatever, and the bank ends up having those loans in their books, and then the value of the company is significantly lower, and that's why they bought it for $2.2 billion. But David Solomon, I wouldn't say he didn't try. He's been trying, but the effort you put in and the results you get are not very well connected here. It's not proportional. So, that's why he's kind of like, hey, let's see what to do. Because at that time, I remember iShares, when BlackRock, Larry Fink bought iShares, that was a game changer for BlackRock. That's a deal of a lifetime. That's a deal of a decade, I would say. But, Goldman kind of needs to do something in that direction. I think that would have been a much better, but, it's always easy to look back and, hindsight is 20/20. But with the Marcus, I would say patient capital. It needs a longer-term patience. And I think right now they're a little more scared because of the economy. If the economy tanks significantly and a lot of people defaults on their existing loans, that's definitely not a good thing for Marcus. And that would put Goldman in a bad position. Again, this whole thing, it's interesting. You have simple. You can close it down. You can keep whatever is going on and don't go too much in the mass market and keep it down. Keep it running. Small revenue, even if it's a small loss for a longer period of time, that's fine. That's one way. The other way is more aggressive approach. I think Goldman would probably not going to take the aggressive approach now. But having said that, this is always a thing. The product, whatever you're launching for these large companies, and whoever the CEO is, whoever made that decision to launch that product, got to stick around until the product is successful. Otherwise, let's not launch it in your last year. Let's not launch, it doesn't work. It didn't work for Bob Iger. It didn't work for Lloyd Blankfein. It's just not a good thing because the new CEO comes, no matter how much that CEO tries, it's not, the alignment is not in the right place, So with Marcus, I don't have a perfect solution here. I would say if I were David Solomon, I would go all in. I would do a bunch of more acquisitions. I would try to keep it afloat, regardless of how much it's losing, because it's pretty insignificant for Goldman. Even if it's losing $3 billion in a couple of years, I think in 3-4 years it lost $3 billion, so that's okay. It's $1 billion a year loss kind of thing. But if they keep it going for a very long period of time, they will pretty much wipe out the competitors. Because the competitors have very low margin. It's not a high margin business. The margin is pretty low, and the competition is pretty severe. There's just too many players in the market. If they offer a very good product, they need something that's significantly differentiated than the rest. And if they can, the one they have, it's not significantly differentiated. It's a good product. It's very good, probably better than anything that's out there. But they have to market it market it to people so that people get to know. Because otherwise, people get confused. What is Marcus? These kind of names. Marcus, it's the founder of Goldman, the Marcus Goldman. A regular person doesn't know that, right? They don't know who this Goldman guy was and what his first name was. So this whole Marcus and this kind of names create a lot of confusion in the mass market. That's one of the problems also in the marketing for Marcus. But they have gotten into it. They got to keep going and keep it running instead of folding the whole Marcus idea. And they started offering these savings account and CDs and all these other things with that. That's okay. That's fine. Everybody does that now. Your Credit Karma offers a savings account and checking account. Your Robinhood offers. Everybody is offering these products now, right? This is and then the BNPL, the buy now pay later guys, the firm and all these guys are offering that. In true innovation. But this was a good effort in the right direction. but it wasn't significantly scalable or profitable. I think that's the problem Goldman is facing. But how many of those significantly profitable and scalable things are you going to get? You got to be the Ken Griffin of Citadel or Larry Fink of BlackRock to get once in a lifetime some of those deals or come up with some of those products. Otherwise, you got to be patient and keep on spending money until it dominates the market, right? So that's my take on this market situation. A lot of people are kind of panicked. Goldman shouldn't have gone into it. It's okay. They have gone into it. You got to face it. You got to deal with it. Just don't go. We're folding that, and we're just going to be an investment bank. And no, I think so. I wouldn't say it was a bad idea for Lloyd Blankfein. I wouldn't say David Solomon didn't put in enough time. I think both of them have done the best they could, but it's all the things combined that kind of made it difficult for the product to prosper faster. Also, the existing economy, that's important to remember. So yeah, that's my reaction to the markets news. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support. Please do subscribe. Thank you.